Good morning, all of you. Today, our new theme is implementing Bloom's taxonomy in language teaching. Bloom's taxonomy. Today, we will speak about this. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited. Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive objectives. It is 1950s developed by Benjamin Bloom, and it is named also Bloom and Bloom's taxonomy. Yes, meaning of the expressing qualitative different kinds of thinking, adapted for classroom use as a planning tool, continues to be one of the most universally applied models, provided a way to organize thinking skills into 6 levels, from the most basic to the higher order levels of thinking. And 1990s, Lauren Anderson, former student of Bloom, revised the taxonomy. As a result, a number of changes were made. Hey, original terms and new terms. Evaluation, creating syntaxes, evaluating, analysis, and analyzing. Application, applying, comprehension, understanding, knowledge, and remembering. Bloom's revised taxonomy, creating, generating new ideas, products, or ways of viewing things, designing, constructing, planning, producing, and interpreting, evaluating, justifying a decision or course of action, checking, and judging. Higher order thinking, it is, yes, analyzing, breaking information into parts to explore understandings and relationships, comparing, organizing, deconstructing, interrogating, and finding. Using it. Yap eşikte. Yap eşikte yukarı kalmayın. Açılmaya kaldı. Açılar. Lapeler. Bir açılmıyor mu? Hüseyin. Şimdi elde. Hüseyin. Shavqin qilmanglar, men dars yozyapman, video dars yozyapman. Kitobxona. Yana xonada, to'g'ridagi xonada. Sizlar kiyimlaring turguch joyda, kiyintir. And here you can see Bloom's revised taxonomy, generating new ideas, products, or ways of viewing things, designing, constructing, planning, producing, and inventing, evaluating, justifying a decision or course of action, checking, and judging, breaking information into parts to explore understandings and relationships, comparing, organizing, deconstructing, interrogating, and finding, applying, using information in another familiar situation, implementing, carrying out, using, and others. Understanding is explaining ideas or concepts, interpreting, summarizing, paraphrasing, classifying, and explaining. Remembering, recalling information, recognizing, listing, describing, retrieving, naming, and finding. And next one. Remembering. The The learner is able to recall, restate, and remember learned information, recognizing, listing, describing, identifying, retrieving, naming, locating, finding. Can you recall information? Remembering count. Recall or recognition of specific information. List, memorize, relate, show, locate, listen, group, choose, recite, review, quote, record, match, select, underline, cite, sort, quiz, definition. Its product includes. Products include quiz, level, list, definition, facts, workbook, worksheet, test, and vocabulary, and others, so on. Questions for remembering. What happened after? How many? What is? Who was it that? Can you name, find the definition of, and describe what happened after? Who spoke to? And which is true or false? Understanding. The learner grasps the meaning of information by interpreting and translating what has been learned. Interpreting, exemplifying, summarizing, inferring, paraphrasing, classifying, comparing, and complaining. Can you explain ideas or concepts? Understanding. It is restate, identify, discuss, retell, research, annotate, translate, give examples of, paraphrase, recognize, associate, describe, report, recognize, review, observe, outline, account for, interpret, give main idea, estimate, define. Products include example, quiz, list, label, outline. Questions for understanding. Can you explain why? Can you write in your own words? How would you explain? Can you write a brief outline? What do you think could have happened next? Who do you think? What was the main idea? Can you clarify? Can you illustrate? Does everyone act in a way that does? And applying. Applying, the learner makes use of information in a context different from the one in which it was learned. Implementing, carrying out, using, executing. Can you use the information in another familiar situation? Applying, translate, manipulate, exhibit, illustrate, Make practice interview and paint, change, compute, sequence, show, slow, collect, demonstrate, use, adapt, and draw. Photograph, illustration, simulation, sculpture, demonstration, presentation, interview, performance, daily journal. Questions for applying. Do you know of other instances where can you group by characteristics such as or which factors would you change if? What questions would you ask of? From the information given, can you develop a set of illustrations about analyzing? The learner breaks learned information into its parts to best understand that information. Comparing, organizing, demonstrating, attributing, outlining, finding, structuring, integrating. Can you break information into parts to explore understandings and relationships? Analyzing. Distinguish, question, appraise, experiment, inspect, examine, probe, separate, inquire, arrange, investigate, sift, research, calculate, and criticize. Compare, contrast, survey, detect, group, order, sequence, test, debate, analyze, diagram, relate, dissect, categorize, discriminate. Products include graph, spreadsheet, checklist, chart, outline, survey, database, mobile, abstract, and report. Questions for analyzing. Which events couldn't have happened? If happened, what might be the ending have been? It is question. Questions for analyzing. How is similar to? What do you use as other possible outcomes? Why did changes occur? Can you explain what must have been happened and what are some of the problems of? Can you distinguish between and what were some of them motivated behind? What was the turning point? What was the problem with? It is questions for analyzing. Next, evaluating. The learner makes decisions based on in-depth reflection, criticism, and assessment, checking, hypothesizing, criticizing, experimenting, judging, testing, detecting, and monitoring. Can you justify a decision or course of action? Evaluating count, judging the value of ideas, materials, and methods by developing and applying standards and criteria. Judge, rate, validate, predict, assess, score, revise, infer, determine, prioritize, tell why, compare, evaluate, define, select, measure, choose, conclude, deduce, debate, justify, recommend, discriminate, and argue, decide, criticize, rank, reject, debate, panel, report, evaluation, investigation, verdict, conclusion, persuasive speech. Next one. Questions for evaluating. Is there a better solution to or judge the value of what do you think about? Can you define your position about? Do you think it is a good or bad thing? It is in here you may add your own question. Yes. How would you have handled What changes would you recommend? And do you believe? How would you feel if? How effective are? What are the consequences? What influence will have on our lives? What are the pros and cons of? Why is of value? What are the alternatives? Who will gain and who will lose? Creating. The learner creates new ideas and information using what has been previously learned. Designing, constructing, planning, producing, inventing, devising, making. Can you generate new products, ideas, or ways of viewing things? Creating content. It is compose, assemble, organize, invent, compile, forest, devise, propose, construct, plan, prepare, develop, originate, imagine, generate, formulate, improve, act, predict, produce, blend, set up, devise, confront, compile, film, store, project, plan new games, song, newspaper, media product, and advertisement painting. Here you can see questions for creating. Look forward. Can you design a Can you see a possible solution to? If you had access to all resources, how would you deal with? And why don't you devise your own way to? Or what would happen if? How many ways can you? Or can you create new and unusual uses for? Can you develop a proposal which would? Or travel sample unit, it is for you sample. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Here you can see remembering. How many ways can you travel from one place to another? List and draw all the ways you know. Describe one of the bicycles from your list. Draw a diagram and label in parts. Collect transport pictures from magazines. Make a poster with info. Understanding. How do you get from school to home? Explain the method of travel and draw a map. Write a play about the form of modern transport. Explain how you felt the first time you rode a bicycle. Make your desk into a form of transport. Applying. Explain why some bicycles are large and others small. Write a short about the uses of both. Read the story and the Little Red Engine and make up a play about it. To rate and other children to see what bikes and they ride. Display on a chart or a graph. A good teacher makes you think even when you don't want to. Creating, evaluating, applying, understanding, and remembering. He who learns but doesn't think it lost. Chinese proverb. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.